Welcome to the deep dive. We're here to cut through the noise, give you that shortcut to being, really well informed. Today, we're jumping into something pretty specific, a deep dive into the cosmic forecast for all you Aquarians out there. We're looking at September 2025. Gonna try and peel back the layers, see what the universe might have lined up.
That's right. And our source here is the Aquarius Horoscope, September 2025 Cosmic Forecast. Our goal isn't just, reading it out. It's about pulling out the really important bits, the key knowledge.
Yeah.
Offering some interpretation, maybe, and giving you a clearer map for the month, helping you navigate why things might happen, not just what.
Okay, and there's one big thing anchoring this whole month, right? The forecast mentions a total lunar eclipse on September 7th. Now, for anyone maybe less familiar, can you just quickly explain why an eclipse, especially lunar one, is such a big deal in astrology? For Aquarius, it's more than just looking cool in the sky, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Think of a lunar eclipse as like a full moon, but on steroids. It seriously ramps up the emotional energy, brings things to a head, a culmination or maybe a critical turning point. It's like a cosmic spotlight, basically. It forces stuff that's been hidden or subconscious or just kind of bubbling under right out into the open.
Right.
And for Aquarius, a sign that's often known for being objective, intellectual, maybe sometimes observing emotions rather than diving right in. Well, this is a pretty intense, energetic nudge. It's a call to face emotional stuff they might usually rationalize or keep at arm's length.
Okay.
Plus, this one's in Pisces, which adds this watery, intuitive, empathetic layer. That could be a really interesting contrast for the more logical Aquarian way of thinking.
And that contrast, Aquarian logic versus Piscean emotion, that really sets things up. So, okay, our mission then is to figure out how this big eclipse energy and everything else in the forecast might play out for you, the listener, in September. Across the board, career, relationships, health, a lot. Let's start with the professional side. What's going on there? So career-wise, the forecast kicks off sounding pretty good. Opportunities for collaboration, new partnerships. Sounds exciting. But based on your experience, do these kinds of opportunities just show up gift-wrapped? Or is there maybe a catch? Especially with this eclipse stirring things up, do Aquarians need to be extra discerning?
That is a really, really good question. Because the forecast sounds upbeat, but that eclipse influence is specific. It says the eclipse will bring hidden truths to the surface. Now, for an Aquarian who likes clear logic structure, maybe values their independence at work, these hidden truths aren't always like finding buried treasure. It could be about subconscious team dynamics, maybe unspoken issues, maybe even realizing your own emotional investment in work outcomes that you've kind of ignored.
Okay, so internal stuff too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's asking you to bring those intuitive feelings, those sometimes messy emotional truths, into your usually rational career planning. And maybe those new partnerships. They might happen because you've suddenly seen things clearly, not just out of the blue. That deeper insight is what the forecast says will push you to reevaluate your career path. Make sure any new steps are on really solid ground, transparent ground.
Right. So the message for listeners is really tune into that gut feeling. Think about, what feels a bit off at work. Where have you had those hunches you haven't really looked at? That's probably where these hidden truths are lurking, and this idea of reevaluation. It sounds maybe a bit scary, like you messed up. How can Aquarians flip that? See it not as negative, but a way to get clarity. What's the mental shift?
It's absolutely a mindset shift, Instead of thinking reevaluation means I failed, see it as an intelligent update, like software, Aquarians are naturally forward-thinking, progressive. The cosmos is just asking you to apply that innovative thinking to your inner work life this month. Ask yourself, okay, now that I see this, does my current path still fit where I want to go? Or is it time to innovate my own approach?
Oh.
It's empowering, really.
No,
Self-correction, not self-criticism. And it makes space for more authentic work.
Okay, intelligent update. I like that reframing. Much more approachable. All right, so that's career. Now, often career shifts have knock-on effects on finances. What's the cosmic map showing for Aquarian finances in September? The forecast starts with stability and solid ground, which sounds reassuring.
It does, that stability is a great foundation. And the forecast does mention chances for growth and investments. But, and this is the big but, it immediately follows up with a warning, avoid taking reckless risks. And it emphasizes that careful planning is key. So this isn't the much for, throwing money at some wild idea.
Calculated moves.
Exactly. Use that stability as a launch pad, but make sure it's for calculated growth.
Yeah.
Like gardening, right? You've got good soil, but you still need to choose the right seeds, water them properly, understand the conditions. For an Aquarian, who can have these brilliant, sometimes way out there ideas. The challenge might be grounding that innovative spark with some solid practical thinking. Prudence.
That garden analogy works well, but it makes me wonder, Aquarians do often love the new, the bold, right? They might want to jump on the next big thing. How do they balance that innovative drive with this need for careful planning? Is there a tension there? How do you manage that?
Oh, there definitely can be a tension, yeah. Aquarians often want to be ahead of the curve, sometimes maybe valuing speed over total caution. The trick here, I think, is to channel that amazing innovative energy into really thorough research. Strategic foresight, not just impulsive leaps. So instead of just dismissing old-school financial advice, use your sharp mind to figure out which new ideas genuinely look solid long-term and which are just, shiny objects. Be a visionary investor, not just a gambler.
Visionary investor, not a gambler. Got it.
So for you listening, think about where careful planning could apply, specifically this month. Is it time to really go over your budget, deep dive into research on an investment you're considering, maybe put the brakes on a big purchase you haven't fully thought through? It really feels like a month for steady, deliberate moves that build up over time.
Thoughtful and deliberate. Okay, maybe not the usual Aquarian buzzwords, but definitely key for September finances. Now, let's shift gears. Let's talk about the heart, the emotional stuff. Love, relationships. The forecast calls the eclipse an emotional turning point. Just that phrase tells you something significant is brewing.
It really does. It signals profound shift. And what's interesting is how the forecast presents this turning point with two main possibilities. For some Aquarians, it says you might close the door in an old relationship. That sounds pretty final, doesn't it? A clear end to something that's just not working anymore, kind of liberation.
Right, letting go.
But then for others, it's the opposite. It's an invitation to step into a new chapter filled with honesty and openness. And this isn't just, minor tweaks. It sounds like deep changes in how you connect, how you show up emotionally. If you're in a committed relationship, this eclipse energy could be a chance to really strengthen your bond. Maybe by tackling those things you haven't talked about, using that honesty.
Okay.
And if you're single, the vibe is ripe for a genuine romantic opportunity. And likely one that feels more authentic, deeper than maybe what you've encountered before.
Wow, so it could go either way, ending or beginning. That's intense. Now for Aquarius, a sign that really values independence, maybe sometimes keeps emotions at a bit of a distance, how might this eclipse-fueled turning point actually feel? What kind of, internal struggle or maybe even relief could come up when facing these relationship truths?
Well, it could be seriously challenging, but ultimately, liberating too. Aquarians often protect their vulnerability, right? Prefer that intellectual space. But this eclipse, especially in Pisces, it sort of dissolves those boundaries, makes it harder to stay detached. So the struggle might be the sheer discomfort of facing raw emotion, yours and someone else's. But the liberation, that comes from realizing that real connection, that honesty. It doesn't mean losing your independence. It means integrating it with genuine emotional expression. It's like a call to move beyond just, do we think alike? Towards, do our hearts connect to a more whole connection?
A more holistic view of connection.
Okay, so as you listen, maybe reflect on which path feels more relevant right now. Is there a pull to let go of something? Or are you feeling ready for a new level of connection, one that demands more emotional honesty? Either way, this kind of turning point definitely requires courage, the guts to say goodbye, or the bravery to really open up to something real, aligning how you feel with what you do.
Courage is definitely the word. Okay, with all this talk, turning points, reevaluating things, big emotional shifts, it makes total sense that your energy levels might be all over the place. And the forecast points this out, right? It warns about energy fluctuations and really stresses giving yourself enough rest.
Yes, and that raises a key question. How do you actually manage those ups and downs, especially when there's so much internal processing going on? The forecast is smart here. It doesn't just say sleep more. It specifically recommends mindfulness and meditation.
Right. Why those specifically?
Because they're not just about physical recovery. They help restore balance, both physically and emotionally. That's the key phrase. When everything inside feels like it's shifting because of these intense cosmic vibes, mindfulness gives you the tools to just observe it without getting totally carried away. And for an Aquarian, whose mind is probably always buzzing with ideas, analyzing things, meditation can be like an anchor.
a way to deliberately quiet that mental noise and reconnect with your body, your deeper feelings. It's proactive energy management, not just damage control when you crash.
Proactive, not reactive. That makes a huge difference. It's not about being lazy. It's about actively building up your resilience, your inner calm, so you can handle everything else. So for you listening, take this as a serious reminder. Looking after your rest, your mental space. That is productive work this month. It's basically the foundation you need to navigate all these shifts in career, money, love. It underpins everything. Okay, now here's where, for me, it gets really interesting. Because we keep circling back to the main event, that total lunar eclipse in Pisces on September 7th. Beyond how it hits specific areas of life, the forecast says its main message, its core theme, is to release what no longer serves you. Oh, that sounds profound. A major call to action for the whole month. What does that really look like for an Aquarian?
Well, if we connect the dots, look at the bigger picture. This act of releasing. It's not just about tidying up. It's the direct pathway to what the forecast calls a month of inner transformation. When you consciously let go of old habits, outdated ways of thinking, maybe even relationships that are genuinely holding you back, you are literally clearing space for fresh energy, clarity, and confidence.
Clearing space.
Exactly. And for Aquarians, often this might mean letting go of certain intellectual defenses, maybe, that tendency to value logic above intuition, or maybe even letting go of a kind of fierce independence that sometimes maybe blocks deeper connection. Releasing the need to always be the detached onlooker and allowing yourself to just be in the flow sometimes. This big cosmic theme, it really supports everything else we've talked about. The career truths, the careful financial steps, the relationship turning points. They're all part of this larger invitation for interchange. By releasing the old stuff, the stagnant stuff, you're not just making room. You're basically inviting a higher, more authentic energy into your whole life.
Wow. Okay, so it's really about hitting refresh intentionally, creating room for new positive things to actually come in. That theme, clearing out the old, making way for the new, that feels like a really powerful thread running through the whole month for Aquarians. It ties it all together, doesn't it? This sense of growth, positive change, all sparked by that big eclipse. So just to quickly recap the main points from our deep dive for you Aquarians looking at September 2025, that total lunar eclipse on the 7th is huge. It's pushing career reevaluation based on seeing hidden truths. It's nudging you towards careful, strategic financial growth, not risky bets. And it's marking potentially big, courageous turning points in your love life. Maybe endings, maybe new beginnings based on honesty. And don't forget the foundation. Right. And crucially, the need for rest, mindfulness, meditation, actively managing your energy, finding balance through all this intensity, and wrapping it all up is that big theme, inner transformation. Letting go of what doesn't serve you anymore to make space for clarity, renewal, and ultimately, success across the board.
Exactly. And building right on that idea. Releasing what no longer serves you. Embracing that inner transformation. I want to leave you with something to think about. A question, specifically for you, Aquarius. Given your natural bent towards innovation, towards maybe a certain intellectual detachment sometimes, what is one specific intellectual belief? Or maybe one habit of detachment? Just one thing you could consciously decide to release right now this week, maybe. To actively make room for that fresh energy, that clarity, that confident, authentic connection in the universe seems to be inviting you towards this September. Because that's where the real magic of this deep dive happens in what you choose to do with it.
That is a powerful question to sit with. Really brings it home to personal action. Thank you so much for walking us through that. And thank you for joining us on this deep dive into your September 2025 cosmic forecast. We hope this has given you a clearer, maybe richer map for the month ahead and sparked some real food for thought for your own journey. Until next time, keep exploring.